Okay, we're looking at readings for July 19th, 2026, which will be proper 11, lectionary, that'd be 15. It's the 8th Sunday after the Feast of Pentecost. We're going to go out of order again this week. We're not going to start with the Old Testament. I want to start with the epistle, which is Romans chapter 8, verses 18 to 27. And I think you'll see why as we go through. Verse 18 says, I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that is to be revealed to us. What this tells us is we're going to have suffering. There's going to be pain. We've talked about this before. The Christian life is hard because Christ set the path and we follow in that. And he certainly did not have a time that was easy or without challenge, without hardship, without pain, without loss. And Paul says here in Romans, the stuff that we're suffering now, it's a blip. Does it hurt? Yes. Would we choose it? No. Do we wish that we didn't have to go through this kind of thing? Of course. Absolutely. And there are some sufferings that seem to go on and on and on and on for years. Physical ailments, dis-ease in our body, stress, anxiety, worry, burdensome financial situations, the results of bad decisions, the results of other people's bad decisions. There's no shortage of suffering, and sometimes even of very long, drawn-out suffering. And Paul gets that. He had more suffering than we can possibly imagine, and it just went on and on and on and on, and new ones were added to it. We don't experience anything like that. But he says, even from his vantage point, that kind of suffering, long-term suffering, it's just not worth comparing to what is on the other side. What God promises to those who faithfully endure and keep his commandments, keep going. Don't let, like we had in the parable of the sower last week, don't let the cares of the world and the desire for luxury and wealth and ease snatch away the word of God that has been planted in our hearts. We don't have that option if we're going to be faithful disciples. We continue in the apostles' teaching and fellowship, in the breaking of bread and the prayers, Acts 2. And we continue to faithfully walk with him despite adverse circumstances, despite years of adverse circumstances, because the glory that is yet to come is going to so far eclipse all of that it's not even worth thinking about. From where we are, we can't believe that, right? That's why it takes faith, because when it hurts, and we want it to stop. But all of this is just going to be a blip compared to what is coming. And so this can give us hope, not only amid our own circumstances in our personal lives, but also in the world. And we're going to come to that when we look at the gospel. Verse 19, the anxious longing of the creation waits eagerly for the revealing of the sons of God. And that's us. We're the sons of God. And we are to wait eagerly for everything that is yet to come, for what Christ is going to continue to reveal and then to deliver to us as his sons. The word eagerly shows up again in verse 23. It shows up a third time in verse 25. Remember, if something shows up 3 times, that's God saying, hey, pay attention. This is important. We need to have an attitude of eagerness, despite any present suffering that we're walking through. That is impossible. Who can do that? To go through suffering and yet look forward eagerly? We can't do that. So, what is the solution? Verse 23, we ourselves, having the first fruits of the Spirit does this for us. Verse 26, in the same way, the Spirit also helps our weakness. We can't possibly do this by ourselves. And even if we did, we wouldn't have to, because the Spirit does it for us. He knows our weakness. And so he just goes ahead and provides for it. So we look forward eagerly with anticipation, despite the sufferings of now, because Spirit enables us to do that. We can't, but Spirit gives it to us. The verse 20, sorry, I'm going to jump around a little bit here, because the writing is like that. This passage does that. So sorry, bear with me a little bit here. Verse 20, the creation was subjected to futility, impossible to do what we're supposed to do, futile. Remember that funny movie, Resistance is futile. It means you can't. Creation was subjected to futility. We can't. It can't. None of us can do what we're supposed to do outside of Spirit, not of its own will, but because of him who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself also will be set free from its slavery to corruption into the freedom of the glory of the children of God. What that means is the way stuff is now isn't the way that it's supposed to be, and it's not the way that it's going to be once Christ is finished with it. That message is, hang on. Just wait. Hold on. Stay faithful. It's coming. Look forward eagerly to what is coming. Everything is going to be taken care of. Verse 22, for we know that the whole creation groans and suffers the pains of childbirth together until now. When we were back in, I think it was somewhere in Lent, we had that passage from John where Jesus is giving his last instructions to the disciples on the night before he died. And he compared himself and his love for them and the eventual coming of the church to a woman giving birth. And none of the disciples, that would have been shocking, because rabbis didn't use examples of women, especially not of women giving birth. And so Paul picks up this theme. This is also pretty shocking. The whole creation is experiencing the pains of childbirth. What he's saying is, no woman is like, oh, yay, goody, I get to have a baby. That's going to be a lot of fun. No, you're scared. You don't want it. You want what's on the other side. You want the child, the baby, the love and the snuggling. You don't want the actual physical pain that it takes to bring a baby into the world. That's what Paul is saying. What we're experiencing right now, that's the childbirth. That's the labor. Ow. It hurts. We would really rather not. None of us chooses this. But this is the way to get what's on the other side. Verse 23, not only this, but we also ourselves, having the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting eagerly for our adoption as sons, the redemption of our body. Remember back up in where'd it go? We have groaning again. There it is, verse 22 and 23. The whole creation groans, we ourselves groan. Oh, it hurts. But we're eagerly waiting everything that is yet to come. Our adoption as sons and the redemption of our body. Remember back several weeks ago when we were at the end of Romans 7, Paul says, wretched man that I am, who will set me free from the body of this death? Same thing here in Romans 8:23. We're We're groaning while we await the redemption of our body. We can't do what we're supposed to do. We can't. We cannot do it. And so, that's the agony of being where we are and who we are while we wait for what we're yet to be and where we're yet to be. For in hope, this is verse 24, we have been saved, but hope that is seen is not hope. For why does one hope for what he sees? But if we hope for what we do not see, with perseverance, we wait eagerly for it. Again, the eagerly. And hope was repeated a whole bunch of times there, so that's also really important. Many years ago, I learned an acronym for hope that is hang on. Possibilities exist. Hang on. Possibilities exist. Hope. And that's what Paul is saying here. Just wait. Wait. If we already were through it and had no more suffering ahead, or if we knew this is it, this is as bad as it's going to get, if I can just get over this hill, I'm going to be fine, we wouldn't need hope. That would be certainty. There would be no need for hope. We need hope because we aren't certain that this is as bad as it's going to get, or that we're right about to the worst of it, and next is going to come smooth sailing. We know that eventually that's going to be the thing, but we are not there now. And so in the meantime, he gives us hope by his Spirit, by promising us that we are his adopted sons and that the glory that awaits us is going to make all of this a blip, a drop in the bucket. In the same way, the Spirit also helps us in our weakness. Remember John 14, which we also looked at back during Lent. It's better for Jesus to go away, even though the disciples were like, no, please don't go away. We don't want anybody else. We just want you. Please stay here. We want this. And Jesus says, it's better that I go away because then I can send the Spirit who's going to be with you always, no matter what, all of you, everywhere, no matter if you're in the same place or not. Everywhere. The Spirit will be in your hearts. You'll be the temple. The Spirit will teach you everything, and it will remind you of everything that he has already taught. We have what's better. We don't even know how to pray as we should, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us with what? Groanings. 3 times. It's important. We've got eagerness 3 times, we've got hope a bunch of times, and we've got groaning. This is deliberate and on purpose. So those are the 3 things that we need to pay attention to. We don't know how to pray. We mess it up. We don't do it right. We don't do it well. We don't do it faithfully or consistently. We don't say the right things. God knows that. So the Spirit, his Spirit, prays for us. We can't even do that right. He's got to do that for us. What doesn't he do? Nothing. All of it. It's all him. It's not us. We can't. His groanings are too deep for words. And that's what happens when we're suffering, right? The pain is so bad. It's just, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to say. That's where Spirit takes over. That's where Spirit picks us up and, like Ezekiel, sets us on our feet. He does the work. We don't. We can't. And he who searches the heart knows what the mind of the Spirit is, because he, the Spirit, intercedes for the saints according to the will of God. We have everything that we need. We know it's going to hurt, but he's already given us everything that we need. And while we're waiting, we need to be eager. We need to have hope. And it's okay to groan. What we're experiencing hurts. Lots of things hurt for a really long time, and that's okay. His Spirit groans too, with sighs too deep for words. You think the Spirit doesn't long for the restoration and the reconciliation and the redemption of all things? Our groanings are because we are in him. That's what makes us yearn for the not yet, for what's still to come. So all of this is wrapped up. We're going to go over to the next video.